This is one of those rare cases where we get an unbelievable quadcopter at an amazing price. What's going on, everybody? This is Jay, and this is the unboxing of the MJX X101. Let's get at it. The MJX X101 without any doubt is one of the most affordable and best quadcopters that you can buy out there in the market. I am truly excited about this one, guys, because for the first time ever we get something that has a similar size to the Geekbuying CX20 and also the Flying 3D X8 that I used to own about 6 months ago. Unfortunately, after the review video, I decided to give them away. One of them went to my brother and the other one went to my nephew, so I don't have neither one to compare them in size, but I do have my measuring tape, so that way you can see that I am not lying about this specific product. What I do have also is the CMA X5SW, that way we can compare the size, and as we can tell already, according to the box, this looks very tiny. And when I first ordered this, which was from the website Geekbuying.com, I was very skeptical. I didn't actually believe that the size was going to be what they advertise, and yes, it is. Now, the amazing part about this quadcopter is that it's able to lift an action camera, whether if you have a GoPro or if you want to buy their own camera, which is the one that they are advertising here. Keep in mind that this is not included. If you guys want this camera, it's going to be anywhere within $30 or $40, but in my case, I have a new MJX camera, which I'm going to be talking about very soon, and that's what I'm going to be using to test the quadcopter itself. But yes, you can purchase their camera, and again, it's going to cost anywhere within $30 or $35, making the total cost of this quadcopter about $85. Now, for this particular model that you guys see here on my desk, I only paid $52 US, and that's the price for everybody. Now, I got it through DHL, and I paid also about $30 US if I remember correctly, so it came to about $80 without the camera. Now, they do have standard shipping, but you know that it's going to take anywhere between 25 days up to 40 days because this is a huge box. Now, here I just want to go ahead and start measuring the box itself, so that way you guys have an idea of how big this is. Right now we have about 14.5 inches of height. The width is going to be another, I would say, 21 inches. I'm not sure if you guys can see that, but it is about 21 inches. So yes, this is a very big box, and for that reason I cannot provide the actual unboxing part or show it on the camera. I'm just going to have to cut the video and show you directly what we have inside. Now, before we get to that, I would just like to give you guys some of the specifications that this quadcopter comes with. As you can appreciate from the box, we do have 3D rolls, which means that you can do 360 flips. Also has one key to return home, something very similar to what we see on more expensive quadcopters, such as the Phantoms, the Geekbuying CX20, the Flying 3D X8, and many others out there. By this time, we have thousands of models in the market. On the bottom is giving us here that it supports a gimbal, just like I mentioned before. We can see it here from underneath the quadcopter. Also, it has the FPV technology. Now, that only works if you get their camera. In my case, I'll be using my own camera, so I'm not going to have the FPV technology yet. Also comes with headless mode. It has one key to return. Like I said before, the controller is at 2.4 gigahertz. Also has 360 immersion flips. They call it 3D flips rolls, so that's very cool. We have the searchlight. That's because the illumination on this quadcopter is very cool, and I'll be explaining that later on in the video. Also, we got throttle limit controls, so that if you are a beginner, you don't crash this quadcopter. It's going to actually help you learn how to fly it and stuff like that. Same thing goes when you're turning the quadcopter to just hover it around. It has some control limits for that as well. And then finally, we got a LiPo battery. It is a 7.4 volts, 1200 power milliamp battery. So there we can tell, guys, that this quadcopter is no joke. It's actually very, I would say, strong. And again, it has the ability to lift a camera, something that a lot of you guys are looking forward to. Now, removing this foam material that comes inside of the box is where we're going to find all the accessories that come included with this quadcopter. First of all, we're going to find the manuals, and they are in English. So that's very cool, and they are very explanatory. I'm just gonna show you here some of the pages that we got, and they explain everything: how to calibrate the quadcopter, how to hover it, how to install the battery, and all that basic information for those of you who are newbies. Then also we find the charger, and the charger comes with the European connector, and the cool part is that they are including the adapter, so you don't have to purchase this separately. I'm not sure if you guys can see this, but here we have the adapter, and it looks a little bit bulky, but at least it works. And I would just recommend using the one that comes with the unit, because you don't want to blow the battery or anything like that. So that's very cool. Putting this aside, you're going to find a screwdriver. Then we also got here some little tips for the remote controller, and these are the spare blades. They are quite big. Let me actually measure them so that way you have an idea of how big they are. These are about 6 inches. So that can give you the impression that this quadcopter is not small. So these are the prop guards that come included as well, and it comes with 4 of them. So you can see also the screws and all the parts are included. So we don't need to basically get many tools for this. All we need is a screwdriver that comes already with the unit. Then here we're going to find that 1200 pound battery. It is a 7.4 volts, and here we have is LiPo, so you can use I would say that you can use a different charger if you guys want to. If you have one of those charging stations, then you can do so. And it looks like a true 1200 pound battery. It's quite heavy. It is a 7.4 volts. So this is the connection that goes directly into the quadcopter. So everything, I would say that this is super simple to install. All you need to do is put in the prop guards. This is optional, and it's always recommended if you are a newbie. And then install the landing gears, in which we have right here on the lower right hand side of the box. Let me take them out for you guys. Okay, so here we have the landing gears with the screws again included, and they are quite tall, giving us enough clearance to install the camera and so on. So you guys can see that again, everything is very simple to install. We don't have anything crazy. So what I'm going to do next is remove the top part of the box, and now we're going to find the quadcopter itself. Well, and then here finally is where we get to the main event, which is the quadcopter itself. Now before I remove it out of the box, it is a lot easier for me to just measure it for you guys right here on the get-go. So this is from one corner to the other. This quadcopter is about 16 inches long, so that way you can get your own measuring tape and see how huge this thing is. And the motors are actually quite big. I would say that they are almost the size of the brushless motors that we see on other higher end quadcopters, but these are brushed, so these are going to get overheated a little bit more. And through the long term, the motors shouldn't last that long as the higher grade quadcopters that we have out there. Those are the only cons. I would say that this should survive at least 30 to 35 flights before needing new motors. But according to the price, I mean $52, you really don't have much to lose here. Then we find the transmitter itself, and the transmitter seems to be of very high quality. It comes with a LCD display. Now this is very easy to actually get it hooked on, and it's quite similar to many other quadcopters that we have reviewed and unboxed before. And then here we're going to find the motors. You can see that it is huge. Then this is the front side of the quadcopter. It looks kind of neat. I like the design. We find again all the blades. Then on the bottom side of the quadcopter is where we're going to find the support for the camera, and you can see that it looks like higher end quadcopters. We got a on and off switch, and then we have here the connectors for the landing gears. We find the wire to connect the battery. Now the battery this time goes inside of the back of the quadcopter. I do apologize guys that this is not very clear, but I'll try to do my best. And like I said guys, this thing is huge. And now that we have this out of the box, let me get my SEMA X5 SW and compare the size. So we can see that the SEMA looks very small compared to the MJX X101. So now what we're going to do next is go ahead and assemble it. It's very basic. All we need to do is just put the landing gears on the bottom and the prop guards, and that's it guys. You have an assembled quadcopter. So let me go ahead and complete that now. Well, we have gotten everything successfully assembled on the X101, and it came out to be huge after the assembly. First of all, from one prop guard to the other is about 24 inches, so that's equivalent to 2 feet. Now without the prop guards, as you guys saw in the unboxing part, it's about 16 inches, so it is not that big without the prop guard. So it's actually optional. This is only to protect the blades in case you guys crash it towards something. Now if you are an expert, you know that you don't have to use these. In my case, I just did it for demonstration purposes. Then on the bottom, I'm going to show you here the clearance that we have is about 4 inches, so I think that we can put pretty much any action camera that we want underneath it. That's because the landing gears are quite long, but they do look quite fragile. So make sure that when you're landing, you don't go too rough, or just put some sort of foams. Just as many people have seen from the Cheers and CX20, a lot of people put one of those floating foams, and that's also going to give you a little bit more clearance, allowing you to install pretty much any action camera out there. Now, I had the option to actually buy the one from MJX, but it's only about 8 megapixels, so I don't think it's really worth it. If you do purchase it, I'm going to jump here into the bottom side. The connection will be on this side. You will just connect the camera on there, and then it comes with 2 screws and a bracket that you can just install on the bottom. In my case, I'll be using a zip tie. Now, talking here about this connection, the battery is inside a cage, so it is not removable. You guys had to remove these 4 screws that you see on here, and then this whole part is going to come off, and then you put the battery on there, you put the cage on top, and like I said, you cannot remove the battery. Make sure that you place the wires towards the connection of the motherboard, otherwise it will not work. And then we get it connected, and this is for charging purposes. So in other words, you don't need to remove the battery, which I think is pretty cool. And then everything has been set up already. So here on the other side, we find an on and off switch, which is definitely convenient. We don't have to be removing this connection right here. So all we have to do is just power it on. And then the next thing we're going to see is 2 red lights, which is the front side, and then 2 blue LED lights, which is the back side of the quadcopter. Now, what I like the most about this quadcopter is the face. Look at those lights on the front. It looks like a very mean quadcopter, and very modern and expensive at the same time, even though this is only 52 bucks. I mean, every time I think about it, guys, I really don't want to mention it much because I don't want them to change the price. But $52, I mean, just think about it. You know, you get such a huge quadcopter here. Let me compare it to the X5SW. Look at that difference. This one is about the same price of this one right here. And we can see how small it is. It comes already included with a camera, but you cannot install other cameras on there. You don't have enough clearance, and the motors are not strong enough either. So let me just go ahead and set this aside for now. And then another thing I want to show you here is how to pair your quadcopter, which is fairly simple. Now, I mentioned on the unboxing that this was going to be the 360 flip, and no, this is not the 360 flip. This is going to be the return key. When you turn it on, the first thing you're going to do is go ahead and accelerate the throttle as if you were going to take off, and then bring it back down. And then the lights are going to be solid. If you want to turn off the LED lights, you can just press this button before taking off. Let me see if it's working. Hold on. Okay, I know that I was able to do it before, and yes, you can turn off the lights, as you guys can tell. And then this one is for the 360 inversion flips. Then we got the trims. We got the lever to go forward, backwards, and from side to side. This one, as we know already, is to take off. And then here we have the different modes that we can use. We got beginner mode, we got expert mode, and then actually this is beginner mode, this is intermediate, and this is expert. This button right here, I had to actually read what this is for. I'm not sure, but I'll find out later on. I think this is, let me see here, mod 2, mod 4. It's like a mod of some kind, and you can see we have mod 2 and mod 4. So we'll have to figure that out later. I know that this is the stick limit, so that way if you are a beginner, you don't accidentally just take off too fast and crash your quadcopter and so on. And also it only requires 3 AA batteries, so you don't need a lot of power on this one, so that makes it very cool as well. And with that being said, guys, what I'll be connecting underneath this quadcopter is actually the AMCUV camera that you see back here. I haven't yet unboxed it. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. It's an AMCUV, I think it's called the AMK 5000S. It's a 20.7 megapixel action camera. It's able to record in 1080p 30 frames per second, and also 720p 60 frames per second. And I'll be using some zip ties and stuff to actually get it connected here, and you're going to see that on the park testing. So with that being said, we know how to pretty much use this quadcopter. It's very basic. It's a 4-channel. You know, it's a 6-axis gyroscope and so on. So yes, guys, it's a very, very nice buy. So now the next thing we're going to do is jump to the park. We're going to test this baby and see how well it does with the action camera. We have arrived at the park and everything is set to go. Now, as I mentioned to you guys earlier, I was going to show you exactly what I did to connect my action camera. This is the MCub AMK 5000S. This is the one with the 20 megapixel sensor, and instead of using the zip ties, what I did is underneath, I'm not sure if you guys can see that, I just got the adapter that comes included with the camera itself. It has adhesive, and then I used the case, the waterproof casing, in order to get it on there. And then all you have to do is just snap it on. Let me see if I can actually show you guys exactly what I did. It's gonna get scratched a little bit, but it is worth it for you guys. So this is what I did. This is the clip-on connector, and then I just, with the adhesive tape that comes included with it, I just put it right underneath here, and this is the bracket part. So it was fairly simple, and it's working like a charm. I already tested it, and it's very stable. Now, checking here the settings on the transmitter, what I did is I left it on mod actually number 4, and that's because the mod, the button on the bottom, is just going to change the way the buttons work. Right now this is to take off, and we know that if we move it from side to side, it's going to change the direction of the quadcopter. Well, if you put it on mod 2, what it's going to do is move the quadcopter from side to side on this side, and then it's just going to invert everything. It's a little bit complicated to explain it, but I think that the mod 4 is the one that I'm used to, so it's a lot easier for me. Also, I have it on intermediate setting instead of advanced, and that's because advanced setting will make this throttle key to just do the 360 flips. So it's recommended that you guys leave it at intermediate if you have flown this before. I almost crashed this quadcopter because I wasn't sure what I was doing. So that's why I read the manuals. And with that being said, guys, we are all set to go. Now we're going to take off and test it out. And that, my friends, was a very rough landing. We have finally completed the flying test of the MJX X101, and I'm super impressed with this quadcopter. If you guys ask me, and not only because I'm reviewing this product, I think this is one of the best quadcopters out there, hands down, according to the price. Again, guys, this is only $52, and I have proven to you guys that yes, this is able to actually pull an action camera, and it could be anyone, because this one here is actually very heavy. If I have to guess, this quadcopter right now is about, I would say, 300 grams or 340 grams. And you know, according to that weight and the time that it lasted flying, it was about 7 minutes. I think it was amazing, because if you take off the prop guards and also turn off the lights, it's going to last about 9 minutes. The only reason I decided to do it this way is to give you guys a full review of what the product really looks like. Now, something that I didn't have time to do was the return to home key. That's because I didn't expect it to die really in 7 minutes. And also I didn't do the 360 flips because this thing here is quite heavy, so it was probably going to fail and it was going to crash. But I promise to you guys that on a separate video I will complete it. And also I would like to mention that the transmitter itself is very easy to use. It's very easy to fly, very stable in the air, and the quality of the recording was a little bit dark. That's because I tested it before, and by the time this thing recharged and I got everything ready again, it was around 5 o'clock, so the sun was starting to come down a little bit. But yes guys, I'm going to test this camera also on a separate video with a review and the unboxing, so make sure that you guys stay tuned for that. And like always, if you do have any questions, don't forget to comment down below. Please like the video, subscribe for more. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on my next one.